All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of What's What BR. We have returning guest Matthew with us. Matthew, how are you?
Doing great. Great to be with you again, Brandon.
I appreciate you making a little bit of time. We're date ourselves. We're day before Thanksgiving, and we're probably the lone holdouts that are still sitting in the office doing some things. Everybody else is, looking for stuffing or a case of beer, I guess, or a bottle of wine for tomorrow, running the roads.
Lucky ones, yes.
Yeah. So I've kind of changed up a little format. So tell everybody, just for if anybody missed the first show, you're kind of running and just, setting the tone for commercial real estate here, in Baton Rouge at Elifin. So kind of what's your role there, and give us a little bit about, Elifin. So,
Yeah. So Elifin is a commercial real estate brokerage firm here in Baton Rouge. We do business all over the South Louisiana primarily. And we're a team about 15 people. And I am the owner / broker here.
so owner, broker, the guy who takes the trash out, the guy's doing the HR, the cheering, the, holding the hand,
Yeah.
holding all of it, right? There's all this
Basically,
small business owners do.
I don't take the trash out as much as I should, but we got good people here that make sure everything's taken care
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. So tell me, what's kind of, last time we talked, we were, can't remember if it was like right in the middle or right in the beginning or, early stages of
of.
COVID,
Yeah.
and everybody was kind of looking and kind of wondering like, what's going to happen? What is it? What I like and always talk about on the show that we're hearing now is everybody's starting to talk COVID past tense on the show. They're like, hey, it's over, and I know medically, I guess we're not over, but we're further along, we're far enough along to where people are talking about it more in the past tense, which is for me very exciting, seeing business move. How are you guys seeing, things move?
Yeah, we're excited too to get on the other side of it from the way that retailers operate and the way that a lot of businesses operate, and just the effect of business. Thinking about back to our last podcast with uncertainty, it was a pretty scary, interesting time, to be in business, and I don't think anybody could have predicted what would follow.
Yeah, no, I think, and that's where we are now. I think you were saying that it's been a very good year, I guess, at the end of the day from the commercial, side of things. I know a lot of people here, and we've all heard, everyone in the residential, I think everybody's like, oh, you can sell your house. It's crazy. People are buying for more than
Yeah.
list, and I'm gonna go sell. And then I'm always telling somebody, it's like, well, yeah, you can go sell your house in the market, but you got to buy in this market too, unless you're moving out.
Right.
But is that the same, as you see, have y'all seen the same kind of thing on the commercial side? Is it as
Yeah.
hot and crazy?
Not necessarily the same in that properties don't move as quickly, but increased level of activity. So we track the transactions from year to year, and 2021 has been the highest level of transactions by a long shot that we've ever recorded. So in the Baton Rouge market, so that's great for our business, right? A lot of things are moving. A lot of people are out there buying properties, and yeah, it's great. A lot of people say, well, they explain it by saying, well, last year there was a lag because of COVID, but really we made up for that lag that was in the second and third quarter of last year in the fourth quarter. So we really didn't see overall last year a big drop in transaction volume. So this year, I think it's harder to explain than some people would like.
Yeah. Well, I was talking, I was talking with Adam Knapp from the chamber, and they had gotten some census data back in, kind of the 9 parish area. And he was talking that, the growth that we're seeing in this capital region we're surpassing all the numbers that people thought we knew we were growing, but it's growing even further. I think he said the latest data was showing almost 850,000, people, which the amount of people has got to have some correlation, and that people growth has got to have some correlation back into the commercial world, correct? Because
Sure.
we got to service this community, right? And so
Sure.
I guess that would explain the amount of volume. And then are you seeing or predicting, or not, are you predicting, but do you see this continuing to move in this direction, or do you think it's going to kind of level off, as some of the housing it seems has?
Well, I mean, the population growth, it might have been better than expected, but it's still not that great for our area. It's not
Mhm.
that it's nothing compared to any place in Texas or anything. And maybe that's, maybe we should just be grateful for the growth that we have. And that's certainly one way to think about it, but it's very little growth. If you look at, I think maybe if it's 850,000 now, I think it was 802,000, our population in the last census, 2010 census. So it's not that many people. I mean, it's a lot of people, 50,000 people, but just in terms of comparison to other markets that are growing, it's not that fast a growth. It's almost stagnant, which is which is not what you want, but hey, it's something. And then I think a lot of the transactions this year is attributable to the easy money that's out there from financing terms, interest rates, all the PPP money that was out there. A lot of organizations, a lot of investors are flush with cash and are looking to place it, and they definitely don't want to hold on to it when we're seeing inflation rise.
So are you seeing most of the buys that you guys are seeing in the area? Is it more investment, or is it, I guess is private use the word? I don't know the term that you'd use.
Owner occupant or users would
Mhm.
be it's investors and then owner occupant / users of the building. So people buying commercial property to use it themselves for their primary business. And it's all around the board. It's both. We're seeing a ton of investment interest, a lot of interest in apartments, multifamily is having a record year. Even office space, even people looking to expand and sign new office leases, buy office buildings. We're seeing a lot of activity on all fronts right now.
Tell me, I've seen some of your signs. I go to the airport pretty often, and it's easier sometimes to duck, back off the interstate and take airline, down to Plank and, jump over. And I've seen some of your signs out there by the old Cortana that you guys have some stuff. And every time I'm driving, I just keep thinking, that historically that area of town has kind of gone down, but then now that we've got Amazon in there, I like drive past and I see like the Franks and, I see, Diesel Driving Academy and, all these different businesses. And I'm going, these guys are probably, in my mind, property values have got to be just, going through the roof. Like you might have had this 5 years ago, you had a piece of property that you didn't think was really probably worth, that much. And then now all of a sudden, is that value just skyrocketing over in that area because of Amazon coming in?
It absolutely is. Yeah. We sold, we have a really good case example for this, in that we sold a building right next to Cortana before the news broke about Amazon, and it sold for one price. And then I think within 9 to 12 months later, we sold it again post Amazon, the same building, same everything, absolutely nothing done to it. And it sold for over double the price it sold for previously. So that buyer got a great deal.
Yeah. So we've all missed the boat on that one. So nobody go run out and try to go grab something unless you got somebody under a rock. But no, it does seem that whole area is, is just going to become this kind of mecca, for, I look at it and I might be wrong, but I was thinking, it's just, you're going to see these people, more warehousing that want to be near close to Amazon to, quick fulfillment, delivery services. You'll see just that's going to turn into this kind of hub. It'll be so much more than what Amazon's doing right there. So if you're anywhere up and down Florida Boulevard Airline, that's just, either hold on to it or get busy doing something with it right now. Right.
And here's the thing, it was already, like, Florida and airline are the most heavily traveled roads in our area. And so it was already an amazing intersection to be close to. People just had a negative perception about it because of Cortana and its struggles, or whatever you want to think, or whatever the reason may be. They just had a negative perception for it because of it, but it was never bad real estate. It's always been great real estate. Just Amazon coming in has made people see it with a new set of eyes, and now it's in demand.
So what you mentioned, people are looking, at office space. You hear people talking about people are, working from home. They're not going to go back into the office. That's not going to be, everyone's now going to work from home. I've got people that, live to come to the office. I think they're sick of being at home. Now we do, work remotely a good bit and kind of bounce back and forth. But you mentioned people are buying offices. So that theory that people think that, no, we're not all going to go back to work. From your side, you can see that that's probably not the case, right? Because people are saying, hey, we're going to invest in office buildings still. We're not tearing them down. We're not, repurposing them. And people are looking to invest to put people back into offices. Is that kind of how you see it?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think there are people in instances on a case-by-case basis that some of their employees, some of their workforce will work from home. And, or they'll be more flexible in that they'll come to the office less and work from the home more. But by and large, and partly because of the great financing that terms that are out there for owner-occupied real estate, people are investing in their office space, and if you want to attract somebody back to the office, you got to have a good place to come to,
Mm-hmm.
So I think employers are seeing that and acting accordingly.
So tell me, would you know, or would this be a question for, we need to get a mortgage guy on here, that owner occupancy, it's always the cheapest money, right? From what I've found, if you're going to buy a building, if you're going to occupy it, absolute the cheapest money. But if somebody's, watching, or we got another business owner, I own my building that I'm in, use me, for example. If I said, I want to go buy another building, you've got a great property on the other side of town. Can I split my office and say, hey, we're going to be half in this one and half in that one is there a certain term I need to stay in that other place before I can turn it into an investment property? Or is that am I asking a very bad question on a, very recorded show?
I would say that you have to talk to your banker about the term that you have to stay there. But to the question is, if you can do that, I believe you can do that. You could split it into, say you're going to occupy half of it, and in a new office, and that will meet the requirement for it. As far as how long you have to stay, I don't know.
We'll have to find somebody on that, because that would seem, like you said, there's a lot of people that have cash, and real estate's a good place to put it, right? I've always said you can't steal real estate, and if it burns down, you've got an insurance policy on it. So you're, for the most part, you're pretty solid, on a real estate investment.
It's a good place to ride out in inflation and all that stuff, and great time to have debt if you got an inflationary environment. So, but I don't know that you'll find a lender that'll answer that question on the air.
Yeah, that might be one. It's, read your own loan docs and then, follow the rules and make the decision yourself, right?
Yes.
So how does somebody, if you guys have a good bit of inventory, obviously it's out there right now, you've got it on the website. Is it just as easy, find it there? Does it matter if they call in, or does it matter who the broker? Do they got to find them with you? Or is it you guys are connecting, people behind the scenes, just call in and say, hey, I'm looking at this property?
Yeah. So that you can go to our website, elifinrealty.com/deals, and that'll have all of our inventory that we have, quote unquote, on the market. And then you can call in. That we're always dealing with other properties that aren't officially out there, and you can see what else we got. And then also, if you need somebody to represent you, we can represent you on anybody's listings. So it all depends on exactly what you're looking for.
And you hit on something, that's where I was going. I had two other things for. let you get out of here for the holidays was one was you'd mentioned, and I've always found sometimes the best deals on property and real estate or they're not listed. It's kind of who you know, or it's the maybe you got one of your agents is representing one property and they know the guy's got 3 or 4 other properties. And he's like, well, if the right deal came along, I'd probably sell it. And that's never listed, but it's if you don't see something on there, but you're looking, the relationship, make the call. Your guys might know something that's not listed publicly out there, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's, some people like to play the game to talk to all the real estate agents. And there's some wisdom in that strategy. But, when we have those opportunities, we take it to the clients that are loyal to us and that we know that can perform. So that's a good reason to call one of our guys or gals at our shop and start a good relationship with them.
And that's where I guess where I was going as well. Starting the relationship, it's not, nobody should feel like they're wasting their time, right? If they're not ready to buy today or later this month or before the end of the year, they shouldn't feel like they're wasting someone's time getting on the phone with one of your people. And like you said, starting that relationship, like, hey, I'm looking for something. It might be next spring, it might be next fall. But if they at least get that relationship or just say, hey, I don't know what I want to get into, but can you just call me if you find something that matches, this, you guys are looking for that as well, not just the guy that's ready to buy tomorrow.
That's a great question, Brandon. That's a hard question to answer. We get so many calls and so many inquiries that depends on your situation exactly, and depends on your timing and what but it's usually, if you think about a real estate agent, all they have is time, right? They're just work on commission. They have to prioritize their time based off of the most probable profitable opportunities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the best first impression to call a real estate company and say, hey, I really don't know what I want and I don't know much about real estate, but eventually I'd like to buy something. It really isn't. I'll just be honest. It's kind of, a relationship is one thing, coffee is another thing, but you really have to do a lot of homework and have an idea of here's some things you can do. You can do some online research, figure out what appeals to you, like what type of property, or at least have an idea, right? We can help steer you in the right direction, but have an idea of how much you have to spend on the real estate, and maybe some idea of financing and how that works. And if you need recommendations for a lender, we can certainly provide those. Or you might have a banker that you work with and you could talk to them about it and what the terms would be. And just have an idea for how the economics work of a deal. And then once you're there and you're in a position in the next 12 months to do something, and you have, a set timeline, then it's a good time to call and talk to one of our people, and we'll help refine your plan and show you properties that might be a good fit for you.
And so to say it, because I'm always more, so you don't have to say it, it's more like don't waste someone's time. If you don't know if you don't know how much you want to spend, you don't know what you want to buy. And I try, just to kind of recirculate it around, you mentioned, what type of property. A lot of people may not, I think sometimes people, you're in the business, right? So, multifamily home, commercial, it's office space, it's a high rise, it's there's a big difference if you're looking for an investment property. And me personally, I'm not a huge fan of office space because I got to deal with air conditioners and, just fundamental cosmetic things, those types of stuff. You get a warehouse, they don't ever call you. They forget who you are, sometimes, it makes it so much easier. So if somebody, and I'm trying to kind of maybe help give somebody, go look, do you want an 8-plex or a 16-plex, building, or do you want to manage a little small, 3-suite office building, or do you want to have a big warehouse and with a loading dock, or do you want to have, a bunch of there's a lot of different types of commercial real estate. And so maybe the answer is go research and find out what landlord you want to be. Then go find out, from your banker how much money you can afford, to put into that, and then can call you guys and say, hey, I've done the research. I've got, $750,000. I'm cleared with a bank. I'm ready to buy in the next year, and I want a warehouse. And I'm cleared for 750, but I don't want to go there. Maybe I just want to be at 500. Call me when you find it. That's the call you're looking for, right?
That is the perfect call, because when you call and say, I'm open to anything, we never know when to call you, and we don't know if you're real, really. And maybe you are real, but we don't know when to call you. But if somebody called me and said exactly what you said, as soon as I have something cross my desk, or we have a new listing or whatever that fits that narrow box, I'm going to think of Brandon immediately. And I'll call you and I'll say, look, I found just the property and this is it. But if you are just, a lot of people don't want to limit themselves but by being specific, you really increase the odds that you're gonna be brought an opportunity.
Right. All right. Last bit, the pulse every Monday. I tell everybody, we're in the marketing and advertising and publishing space, and in some tech spaces as well, over here. But I tell my, advertising sales rep, sign up for the pulse. That's going to tell you who's getting, the permit to add on to their building. That's going to tell you who's buying, who's moving, who's got a story to tell, so you guys put it out from a, maybe for people, myself looking for, a property, or just here's what's going on. But there's a lot of other things, it's a good tool. Like I said, if it's a doctor's office and they're adding on, they put a permit for another 4,000 feet, they've probably got a story to tell in the next 12 months. And so what is, kind of run us down for anybody who doesn't know. I'm not going to try to, I know a little bit about it because I get it and look at it every Monday, but you guys put a lot of work into this. This isn't just a little newsletter with a couple pictures. This is go for it.
Yeah. So it all came about. We do some research here that nobody else does, in that we go manually through the clerk court records every week and pull out the commercial sale information, all the commercial properties that have sold. And that, before Elifin started the Pulse, that was like a really hard thing to get your hands on. What's sold, what hasn't sold, blah, blah, blah. So we decided we're going to do that. And then together with the head of our marketing department, Chase Weatherly, figured out that, hey, why don't we take all this very, very valuable, hard to get, time consuming research, and why don't we send it out to everybody in our database, clients, non-clients, competitors, other agents, other firms, appraisers, etc., for free.
Yeah, free. Here, we did all this work and you can have it.
Yeah. And pretty crazy thing to do. No, not many people in this world would do something like that. But it has been an amazing marketing piece for us, by just giving people a lot of value. And like, it's rare that anybody ever complains about receiving the Pulse. People complain about receiving newsletters. People complain about receiving emails. But all I get are thanks and praise from the Pulse, which is like, that's how you just like, we hit it out of the park. So kudos to Chase, who makes sure that it goes out every single Monday, which is also a tough thing to do when you're a small business and growing, and it's not your primary business to send out the newsletter. So in addition to all the sales, it has for the prior week, it's got new planning and zoning cases. So like, what big planning and zoning cases are coming through, or what interesting planning and zoning cases are coming through up for public hearing, and then also all the permits, all the commercial permits issued the prior week, which is also great information for a variety of businesses.
I felt for him when I was reading it, I guess a couple of months ago, because I was reading through the permits and I kept seeing, electrical meter hookup, electrical meter, like hookup. I'm like, oh, he even included every one of those. Like that's probably not needed for anybody, but in spirit of, we're going to give you all of it. He literally pulled, everybody that was having to get their house power turned back on and generators and
Yeah.
things like that. But I look at it every week. I tell my teams to look at it because it's so useful, even if you're not even looking at it from a real estate perspective, just to go, oh, look, this guy bought this building. I've probably done it 4 times this year. I've looked at it, seen a building that was sold and was pissed off that I didn't have it 2 weeks ago. I saw one that was sold. I'm like, I didn't even realize I would have bought it if I knew that was on the market. Had no idea. It pissed me off. And one was right around the corner from my house. So, but it's extremely useful, more than just, I'd encourage everybody to go sign up for it. Not just that you're looking for commercial real estate or you need permits, but you're going to find out, you're going to kind of get to know what's happening. You start seeing, this group you start recognizing names, this group, investment group bought this, they bought this, and they bought this. You might be a financial advisor and say, hey, I want to go talk to one of these guys because they're obviously doing something, they're moving and shaking. So there's so many uses for it that I try to spin out. So I appreciate you guys putting that together. And Chase, it's, I use it for a lot of different things.
Thanks, Brandon. That means a lot. Well, I'll pass that on to Chase for sure.
Absolutely. Well, look, man, you got more important things to do than talk to me all day. So I appreciate you stopping in and, giving us, right before everybody's going to go sit in some traffic and get ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow and have a little bit of a break and come back and do the sprint to the end of the year, right?
That's right. That's right. Thanks, Brandon. Thanks for having me on.
All right, man. Thank you. You too.
Okay.